Hey, and welcome to the Gameweek 4 statistical review using the fantasyfootballfix.com website. My name is Tom. Find me on Twitter at utterlytc. Let's get straight into it. So the Optastat Sandbox is this really cool feature that I love playing about with, and it basically allows you to tailor your game week range for a particular set of fixtures if you're interested in sort of limiting the output. Right now it's defaulted to the full season in totality. But what I really like doing is toggling between players and team level metrics. So if we take a look at teams, so the default is players, but if we take a look at teams, you've then got this number of different options available to you. I'm going to keep all of the opposition teams included here. What's really cool is that you can flick between seasons as well, which is why you kind of see now relegated teams like Bournemouth, for example, West Bromwich Albion. That's kind of interesting if you wanted to look back historically and apply an even wider lens. But we're going to focus on this season, going to look at the whole season in totality, as I mentioned, and it's team level stuff that I'm going to be taking a look at and seeing whether or not there's anything interesting or fun that we can pick out on. So the default is to just look at things total, which is obviously interesting and useful in certain contexts, but I love the ability to be able to consider the information per 90 minutes or per game. So actually get more of apply the thought process in terms of how these teams are performing in a given match rather than the collective. So instead of taking a look at the total at the start, we're going to take a look at things per game. So clearly we've only had 4 game weeks worth of data so far, but hey, it's a small sample size, but it's enough for me to start playing around with. The default is to be sorted alphabetically, but we're going to get into some of the other filters to take a look. So we're a bit of a banter team right now, aren't they, Arsenal? Let's see how that performs. So they've been mocked quite widely for their defensive performance. Let's see whether or not there's anything in the stats that backs this up. So per game from a defending perspective, if we look at shots conceded in the box on average, straight away you're going to get some interesting results there. So Leicester are actually yielding on average the most amount of shots in the box per game, which surprises me initially, but then you think that they actually just played Man City in the game week 4 match and they gave up 25 shots in that game. I know because I've just done the analysis on that game, so might be a bit of a misnomer there. So what you can do there, if I unselect Man City as an opponent, we can then see how this alters. And again, because it's a per game stat, you're not going to lose out on the integrity of the information there because it's still averaging out. So this is looking more like we would expect now. So shots in the box, conceded. Norwich, yeah, that's really bad. Leeds are super profligate at the moment. Not profligate, super open at the back right now. And Burnley, kind of surprisingly as well, they're giving up a lot of shots in the box as well. Spurs as well. Wow, that's kind of interesting. So the attention that Spurs have been getting from a defensive perspective mightn't actually be something that we'd expect to continue based on the number of shots that they're conceding in the box per game. Give some basis of comparison here. If we filter by the best, then lo and behold, Man City are dominant as they were last season in terms of their defensive capabilities. Man United as well. I had a feeling that they've been a bit unlucky in terms of, I think it's only 1 clean sheet in 4 so far. But in terms of the actual shots that they're conceding, it's not actually many. And as we've pointed out previously, Wolves are impressive as well. So quite interesting from a defensive perspective. For me, I've mentioned before, defending is a team level metric. So how do we relate this to FPL? So I think when you're selecting your defensive players, this is the way that I would start my analysis. I would be looking at team level metrics if you're interested in clean sheet likelihood rather than looking at the players, and actually looking to try and understand which of these teams are most likely to or least likely rather to be conceding shots indeed that we expect to be scored from, i.e. those which are in the box, and start to target those teams. So Wolves, Palace, Everton, for example, would be a reasonable start to start looking at, or a reasonable approach to take if you're looking at taking players from those particular teams. I'm just going to bring Man City back into the equation now. I like looking at the expected returns, and we'll look at the FPL ones as well. We're still looking at team level metrics right now. So if we look at the expected goals per game from the first four, no surprises right there in terms of Man City and Liverpool have been so dominant from an attacking perspective over the last few seasons. But it's nice to see, as a West Ham fan, West Ham also impressing in terms of the number of shots that are being created, or the XG rather, being created per game. And Wolves, again, they're creating a lot of chances and good quality chances as well. So Wolves are a team that are super interesting, actually. And I'm just going to take a little look at this from a fixtures perspective as well. So if I look at the fixture analyzer as well, choose our game week range. So we're going to go from 5 through 8. Give us a decent 4-game period to take a look at. And yeah, lead the way there. But you've got Wolves actually with a nice run of attacking fixtures. The algorithm suggesting that that's second most positive in that respect, and indeed the number of, or the XG that we just looked at a few moments ago, has them fourth in the list for a non-penalty XG. So is that right? No, apologies. Third from a non-penalty XG. So they've got some players there. I think the composition of that attacking lineup for Wolves right now is a little bit unknown, with the likes of Trincao. Jimenez is still yet to really hit the heights. I think it's coming personally, based on my observations from Match of the Day over the weekend. They've got a number of different other options there as well, with Podence and Traore. I think I mentioned Trincao as well. So those are a few uncertain selections, but I actually think if you're happy picking one of those from accepting that uncertainty, then you've got good statistical information here to back up the number of and quality of chances that are being created per game, and dovetailing that or coalescing that through to the fixtures. Seems like that's a sensible line of logic for sure.